what is up, everybody? Welcome to the first show of 2023 for PHNX Rising. I'm Ramon Chavez. We got Max Simpson here. No Owen today, unfortunately. He's across the pond in his native home of Wales. I think I said this to you earlier, Max. I think he would have enjoyed the weather that we've been having in Phoenix because it's kind of reminiscent of Wales. So
I think so, but of course now I can hear Owen saying this is much better weather. There's no rain. There's no there's no doom and gloom like the weather is there. I can imagine him saying we do miss him.
Yeah.
To a point. It's kind of nice, He's a little chirpy on the last show, so nice to see you.
A little chirpy. Okay.
I mean, always it's Owen. What do you expect?
That's true. And as always, guys, this show is brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's #1 sportsbook app. But yes, Max, 2023, new year, new me. Is that, you got some resolutions for this new year, or are you that type of guy?
No. So like, I'm a believer in, if you wait. Me personally, shout out to anyone who's trying to fix himself, do them. I get you.
Just put my hands up.
I put my hands up. I'm not guilty. No, I believe if you wait till New Year's or like an obligatory date to start things, I feel you're doing it wrong. If you should be motivated, just do your thing. But I do think it's very interesting. My family now has a running tradition where it's really like Etsy or Pinteresty. My sister, she gets our family together and we make vision boards where we literally take like magazines and like newspapers and stuff like that, clip it out to like whatever intention, if you will.
I like that.
What you're trying to do. Mine this year, I guess, is presence, being present, trying to not think too far ahead of things. Like that Tottenham game, I'm trying to live in the present.
That was rough.
Mike, trying to live in the present, not talk about the past or the future as much as be grounded where I'm at now. We're not going to about Tottenham. That's a different show where I can go on about them, but I won't.
No, that's good. I like the vision board stuff. I know my girlfriend does it too. I thought it was cheesy at first, but I can see the purpose behind it and why it's important to some people. I like it. It's good stuff. Good energy with the new year. But speaking of the new year, season's fast approaching. It's been an immense turnaround as far as personnel with this team. I shared the spreadsheet that I was working on earlier with you.
I appreciate it.
And we see the names that are gone and now the new names that are here. It's just like you can't even recognize this team. So we're definitely going to talk about that. And also some expectations that we have with this team. At the end of the day, it is Phoenix Rising. It's one of the premier teams in this league. And whether they like it or not, they have to be successful. And so we're going to talk about that and how we're feeling with this new season and some of the changes that are happening and what we can expect. There's still a long ways to go till the first kickoff, so we're definitely going to talk about that. And of course, we got to mention Cristiano Ronaldo moving to Saudi Arabia, finding a new club over there. And then over the holiday break, unfortunately, there were some bad news regarding Pele. He was dealing with some medical issues, and unfortunately, he did pass away. So we're going to talk about him and some other stuff that happened. I was, thinking about what to talk about today, and I hit you up pretty early in the morning because I was drawing blanks, and all of a sudden, boom, everything just came to me for this show. So it's gonna be a good one. First one for 2023. Shout out to Michael there, Harry. We got BJ. Yeah, thank you for joining us here. Should we talk about Man U? Maybe a little bit. They're doing good.
We're talking about Tottenham, which means we're gonna have to talk about Man U.
We'll touch on it. If there's time, we'll touch on it for sure. But let's go ahead and get started, Max, with the New Year expectations and with what's going on with the squad, this rising squad and the signings that we got last year. How are you feeling about this team? We're going to give you both of our answers here in a quick second, but overall, are you liking the signings? Is this a team that kind of gives you hope for, making the playoffs, first of all, and of course, competing for the championship?
Yeah, I feel I've been a broken record on a lot of these recent shows. I think the big thing is this team is still taking the shape of Juan Guerra and his image and the style of play he's looking to do. Really, at this point in the offseason, there's still a lot of work to be done. There's still a lot of signings that will happen. A couple players probably going to be leaving still. Nothing confirmed here or there, but there's still a lot of activity. Things going to happen. I think the biggest thing is I feel that there is a style of player and profile that they are bringing in. You can see based on like highlight clips, based on players' records and previous statistics, that there are calibers of players that are looking to be brought in where the team is going to be very decisive, very attack-minded, and it's players who can do a bit more dynamic things than I feel what we've been bringing in. And regardless how what your expectations are, regardless how you think the season's going to go. This is the first season where we go into it. Yes, there's a lot of unknowns, but at least there's continuity, it seems like. And that is something where you're going to now have an entire season to really judge and feel out Juan Guerra's process and how he's looking to take his shape. That to me gets me excited, and it actually leaves me optimistic versus when he came in where you're kind of inheriting a sinking ship and trying to walk and, steer the ship with everything like that. He actually can take his time and do his thing. Yeah.
And I remember specifically a conversation that I had with him. I think it was the second to last game of the season, but that was the first time we actually had to, got to speak and, talking about the offseason. He just said there's going to be a lot of tough decisions.
Yeah.
And that's what's been going on. I don't think it's easy for this amount of players to leave Rising and for him and his coaching staff and the rest of the front office to say, hey, we've had these guys for a number of years, but we're moving in a new direction. They got to go. So I know it's tough. I know it's tough with the front office right now and everything that's going on. But speaking of this new team, Max, what are you feeling? You see the current makeup as it is with this team. How far can Rising go? What are the aspirations for this team heading into 23 with this current squad?
Yeah, and I mean, I know we got it. We got up there. I think we're on the same page, it looks like, of we project Rising to be a playoff team somewhere within the low to middle table. Where that falls exactly, I'm not sure. But I think you look at the last season, we were saying probably with like a month and a half left that they were out, they were done. And yet, based on how the conference was, based on how other teams losing and Rising somehow staying in there, they weren't really eliminated until really towards the end of the season. I think with a coach taking over, again, trying to right the ship and not keep it from sinking, I think now that you have an off season with some guys coming back, with some new guys in the fold, I think it's going to be a struggle at the start. It's going to take time. Nothing really dedicates those in-game reps, unlike doing it yourself. So it's going to take some time to build the guys up. But with the talent and the coaching staff in place, the minimum to me is making playoffs. And I know that to some, based off the club's success, is a low bar. I think you have to be realistic. That's just where we're at right now. The West is only getting stronger, and you're dealing with a blank slate again. I think if you get some things right, you maybe can push for somewhere around 4, but I think realistically you're probably looking in the, give or take 6 range.
Yeah, and that was my feeling as well. With the current squad, the way it is, if they get to that 4th spot, I'd be really happy. I think this team is still a few signings away from kind of taking shape and really kind of cementing who they're going to be for 2023. But, I like what you said right now, that it's going to take time. So if this team is not top of the league by the end of April, I don't think people should worry. I think you need to give them a little time to gel and kind of come together, because a lot of these, players, they're going to be new pieces. It's a new place for them. It's going to be a new stadium.
Yeah.
It's everything's new. And so you got to give them some time to kind of, gel and get together and find out that identity that Juan Guerra is trying to build.
I think the biggest thing that it always gets lost is it's very easy to say, hey, the team's winning, the team's drawing, the team's losing. And listen, you're judged at the end of the day on your record. And that's where I'm not saying that's not important. But I think the big thing is, how is the team playing and how are those results stacking up? Are they staying in games competitively? Are they getting blown out? Are they running away with teams? Really, I'm curious of how the style of play is going to be and what they look like. Because to me, that is a bigger indicator in many aspects. As we know, this game, the better team does not always win, and the worst team sometimes pulls it out. I'm really curious to see what they do on the pitch and how that translates into the results.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And with the squad, we kind of got an idea of how Juan Guerra wants to play last year. What are you feeling for this upcoming season with 2023? Are they going to continue with the same scheme that they had last year, or what are you envisioning?
Yeah, I mean, what we saw last season was really a lot of, I would say, slower buildup in possession. You saw a lot of games where, it feels like they were hovering around the 60, 65 plus % possession, really trying to dictate the tempo. But it wasn't that bit of decisiveness that, that could be a personnel thing. That could be hey, we're still adjusting into that final third and trying to Like I feel the last thing that often comes along when you bring in a new manager, you solidify the defense. It's not disrespect to defenders, but I feel that's an easier thing to coach, maybe with the different instructions out there. And then the attack is what comes last. So what I'm looking for with their style of play, is a bit more aggression within the final third. I'm thinking a bit more verticality. I know producer Sean's putting up the graphic here of the different formation style play that we could be expecting. But I think it's going to be vertical possession, guys that it's not going to be just lumping it over the top like we saw under Rick Shantz, but perhaps a bit mix of we're going to be more decisive in the final third. That's my biggest thing. And if we're looking specifically at formation, I just don't really see how we go with a two-striker system. I know there's maybe been talks about this, or maybe just seeing how the personnel being brought in. Yeah. I am still looking for our number 9 personally. And so I think if you don't have that, I personally think we're going to go to more of a 3-4-3 kind of route. But hey, we'll see. Maybe there's a bit of flexibility. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's just going to be a very fluid, formation, because I think both of us kind of have the same feeling with the 3 in the back and how they're going to play. And, I think the midfield, if, we'll talk about him in a little bit, but if Lambert, returns and he's that steady rock in the midfield, I think you can play around with a lot of the front formations if you're going to have him. So 3-5-2 possession base. And the reason I'm going with that is because last year you saw the Oakland team that Juan Guerra was in charge of, and looking here at an old USL Championship article here from August, and Juan Guerra's Oakland's team was ranked 4th in the championship in average possession of close to 55% per game. So that's a huge deal. Juan Guerra wants to control the tempo, wants to control the pace, wants to make sure that his team is dictating what's going on the pitch. So I think that's going to continue. But I agree with you as far as there's no clear-cut number 9 right now. There is a lot of speed on the wings, which is what I'm seeing, a lot of creativity in the midfield. So I think he has a lot of chess pieces he can play with. So I'm going with 3-5-2, but I think that formation can change. Sure. With whatever opponents on the field, who's fit, who's in good form, and so we'll see. We'll see what happens in 2023 with that one.
I feel as we both agree that there, especially with the signings brought in, there's a lot. It's a very crowded midfield. Yeah. There's a lot of different options.
I think that's a good thing. I
love it.
You want that because then you have Lambert. If these other guys kind of pull through, the Argentinian kid that they just got. It's just so much talent, man. Yeah. It's just up to Juan to kind of figure it out and see if they can make it work. All right, great squad so far, but we touched on it just a little bit right now. But what are some other needs that you feel like the team needs to address before their season starts?
Top one to me, it's goalkeeper. When you lose Ben Lund, I mean, I don't really know much else to say. I don't really know much else to say. He was it's a crime that he wasn't further up on the short list for best keeper in the league, but he was our team MVP last year for a reason. He's going to be the hardest one to replace, and I've said it. I said it when we named it our team MVP, and I said it when he left. Goalkeeper is one of those positions where it really separates a team from being terrible and being good, and then from good to being great. If you have a good goalkeeper between the sticks, that can do a world of difference. So I don't really know how I'm going to replace that. What's on the roster, maybe that's an addition. I'm not sure. But goalkeeper to me, major red flag right now. And then number 9, I like who we've brought in, a guy from Indy 11. I know Greg Hurst, and some of that attacking fluidity has been depleted a bit out the door. I want some depth at number 9. And even if our starting number 9 is on the roster, I want someone who can come in and not just take 10 minutes in garbage time or in crunch time, but actually start a game or two if you need to.
Yeah, definitely. I do want to touch on the goalkeeper one. What qualities are you looking for in that goalkeeper? Obviously with the possession and trying to be aggressive offensively, what qualities are you looking for in that new rising goalkeeper?
I think you hit on possession. Kind of going back to the style of play for me, if you can have a keeper who knows how to play those kind of not even counter-pressing attacks, but one who you can really kickstart the attack from a keeper position. So often in USL, I just don't think we see that as often as, let's say, in some of the other leagues around the world where that's just more of a defined thing. If you can have someone who can kickstart that attack, especially with a lot of these midfielders where you're not just having to play in the defense, but you're bypassing into the midfield, bypassing directly into the attacking feet. It just gives you that extra dimension where then it causes the defense to sit off And then they're scrambling. So that's the big thing to me. Big distribution down the field.
Yeah, definitely. And I agree. As far as my end, the defense, I think we still have a lot of questions on right back, center back, left back. A lot of those positions are not defined yet, or that's the thing with USL and these contracts that we don't know who's part of the team, and it really frustrates me sometimes because you can't really talk about them, too much because you're kind of left wondering if the guy's going to come back or not. But of course, the defense, I think they're just going to retool the entire defense. We saw how much they struggled last year, and especially against offenses that were playing quick. On attack. So I think they need to add a little bit more of quickness and fast-paced defenders so that way they can keep up with the rest of the league, because it felt like at times last year the league had just passed this team by, and so they're going to retool and see if they can show up that defense and bring it back to what it once was. A lot of good stuff going on here. Let's take a look here at our next category. We talked about the contracts and how frustrating it can be not to know whether a player is signed here for another year or not, but of the players that we have yet to hear about, what player needs to definitely stay here for at least another year?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's I feel the most glaring one. It is Kevin Lambert.
Yeah.
I think the issue we ran into with him is he could play center back and do a great job there, and he can deputize in center mid, which again I think is his more natural position where I'd like to see him more. The issue we had with him is he was good at both, really good at both. And I think in the last year where we had to move back a bit more than I think we would have liked to see, it kind of left the weakness in his end back there. Now that we have, I feel, an influx of mids, is the defense where he's going to stay this year? Is it a bit of like some sort of back and forth? I'm not sure. Either way, to me, he is the biggest re-signing need that we need out of him, based off just his experience with the club, based on how he adds a lot to the attack, especially on set pieces. I enjoy his game, and I think to me, he is a bit of that Swiss Army knife where if you lose him, man, that is a big replacement. We're talking about Ben Lunn as like pound for pound, one of the more important guys on the team. He's right there.
Yeah, and I was debating a little bit whether it's going to be Lambert or Quinn. I think each bring their own individual qualities that make them great, especially in the midfield. But I think at the end of the day, it has to be Lambert. You need to keep at least a couple of guys from the last squad in 2022 and bring him over. Kind of, they understand Juan. They played with him. He was an assistant here with Rising before he headed over to Oakland. So he knows these guys. Juan Guerra knows these guys. I know there's a couple of guys he wants to make sure that they stay. And Lambert, I have a feeling like he's already signed for at least this season, but if he wasn't, he definitely needed to be re-signed and at least kept for another year, because you're that guy. He's that guy that is the rock, like I said, in the midfield. And I know this is from the last coach, but he was the first player on the sheet each game, with the last coach. So it's one of those things that he just needs to stay and have another great season with Rising. And after that, I feel like he has the ability to play elsewhere, like at a higher level. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, and I think the thing, that's totally a fair shout of, hey, he was a real rock, first guy on the team sheet under the previous regime. I think the thing that is very much in his favor is he does that, like we talked about, that positional versatility, but it's not just, jack of all trades, master of none. He really can be the best guy on either line, and we've seen that in his play even after Juan took over. So I think that's going in his favor, and we'll see what happens, but we hope so.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Max, before we wrap up here, there's a lot of chatter online, as there always is in the social media channels, but a lot of these signings are from a particular country, and some nicknames have popped up here with these new signings, and you get this nickname of Venezuela FC.
Yeah.
A lot of people are questioning why so many Venezuelan players are being signed. Do you have a problem with this? Is this something that, can backfire on a coach like Juan Guerra, where he's signing too many players from that particular country? Is that something that, does that bother you anyway?
Honestly, it doesn't. And I think when you are, we always said that we want Juan to make this team in his mold to the best of whatever it's going to be with his full discretion. I think we saw bits and pieces of that towards when he took over as the season went on. But really, we knew that this offseason was going to be it. And it's kind of that, I guess, freedom of sink or swim. You're going to bring in your guys. Now, whether that's personal experience that he has with a lot of these guys that have been brought in, I think that there's a line that you can draw on. And listen, they all happen to be from Venezuela, or not all of them, excuse me. A lot of them happen to be from Venezuela. Yes, we hear the Venezuela FC. I don't really have an issue with that. Yeah. I think if you're able to build that continuity, you have a core group of guys from Venezuela while still having a core group of guys that have returned from Rising last year that aren't from Venezuela. I enjoy that because you're able to really play to that continuity that the coach is trying to bring in.
Yeah. And that's the thing with social media sometimes, that you just get kind of these things kind of rolling, and, people hear it and they see it and they're like, you know what, that does make a lot of sense. And so when you see these transfers, like Santi Moore leaving the club, Greg Hurst leaving the club, and you're doing it for, that international spot, and then you bring in a Venezuelan guy, it kind of does bring up questions. And I completely understand that. But like you're saying, we wanted Juan Guerra to build his team in his vision, and like you're saying, in the mold that he wants it to be. So he's bringing in the guys that he thinks are going to win the game. So it's if they can do it, props to them. If not, I feel like some people are gonna, bring that up and say, "Hey, this is what happens when you do this."
And it's human nature. We when you see players who we know that they have performed and then they leave, you're naturally going to be like, okay, well, whoever they bring in better be darn good. And then when you see the common thread, it's like, okay, here we go. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, if they're, whatever country people are from, whether they've been with the team or not. I don't personally care. If they can ball, they can ball. That's all that matters to me.
Yeah.
Building the coach's image. Let's see if it works out. But I like that at the very least, there is a sense of familiarity. And if I'm an outsider, I'm thinking he's at least pulling from guys that he has more intel from, you'd think, than guys who, this is a crapshoot. Let's see if it works or not. You never know until you know, but at least it seems pretty informed from what we're seeing.
Yeah. One of the things that I really liked from one of the recent signings, I forget who he was, but he said, look, I haven't met Juan Guerra in person, but just talking to him via Zoom and the energy that he brings and the way he paints the picture of the project that's going on in Phoenix, that kind of gives me some hope about like Juan Guerra able to recruit players that are really talented, that are going to believe in this club. And that's something that you wanted to see coming into this offseason, because I had doubts if they were going to be able to bring big name players and talented guys that wanted to be here after the season that happened last year. So I think it's cool. I think it's cool that that's going on. And, props to Juan Guerra for being a good recruiter, man, for bringing those guys on board.
For sure. Well,
and the rest of the front office.
No, for sure. Yeah. And I think a natural question that might arise is like, well, is he going to play his favorites? Is it going to be those guys who maybe he has a bit more familiar with? You got to understand that a coach at this level, he's going to play the guys who are best for his team. And it's going to be decided through preseason, through training, through how they're interacting with their teammates. If whoever the best guys are, those are the guys that are going to play.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen this around the world with, let's say, like a Bayern Munich. Yes, there's a lot of German players who play for that team, but there's also a lot of guys who aren't from there. Same with Spain, same with Barcelona and Spain. All these different teams. It's not just, bam, there's that influence, and so that's who we're going to play.
Yeah.
The guys who are going to earn it are going to earn it, and I have no problem with, there are a lot of Venezuelan players on there, and they have the familiarity with coach. I love that, and whoever is going to come out on top is going to come out, and it's going to make the team better, and we'll see what happens with it.
Yeah, for sure. Bonnie, thank you for joining us on the show. I always appreciate you hopping on, and let us know in the chat. Let us know how you're feeling about these moves and the expectations ahead of 2023. Again, these are just very early thoughts that we have. We're definitely going to have more input, once more signings come about and the season approaches. So stay tuned with us. We're going to give you more insight on what we have. Max, let's take a quick break and talk about our friends at the DraftKings Sportsbook. If you didn't know, man, the NBA is heating up, man.
That's what I hear.
It's when the New Year's coming. That's when you're preparing for the playoffs. I know the Suns are not doing that well. They're in that playing area. It's kind of rough with Devin Booker being injured for a little bit. So, but it doesn't matter, because you guys, if you download the app, you guys are able to make some money. So if you guys haven't downloaded it, make sure to do so right now. And if you sign up with the code PHNX and place a $5 pregame moneyline bet on any NBA team to win their game, you can get $150 in free bets if they do. And again, that's promo code PHNX only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. Make sure to check out the show notes for details.
And I want to address this to Mike specifically. If you actually look at tomorrow's game at Crystal Palace, And Tottenham, Spurs are, plus 120, which, okay to win. That's cool. Crystal Palace, plus 235, a draw, plus 240. Money says Tottenham's going to take that one. So might as well just put your money on Spurs to win. They might go down by 1 or 2, but I mean that's when they seem to turn it on. Let's not talk about Aston Villa. We won't talk about that one because I guess they kind of malfunctioned during that. But hey, you can bet on Prem, you can bet on Copa del Rey on here, all different types of international soccer over here.
That's right. Yeah, every league is coming back basically, and Liga MX is starting as well. So excited for that one. Big game tomorrow or Thursday actually. Chelsea versus Man City. That's going to be a good one on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. There you go, Sean pumping it up for Chelsea. I forgot he was a Chelsea fan.
Yeah, no, I know. Yes, we watched Arsenal Newcastle today. That was one of them. We're like, man, it's a 0-0 draw. It's very entertaining. That was a back and forth affair.
Yeah, Arsenal, man, they're on top of the league,
I hate it.
I hate these Arsenal fans because they get a little chatty.
We can agree on that. We don't like Arsenal being on top. We can all collectively agree in this room.
Welcome to the PHNX anti-Arsenal podcast.
We are literally we are all chasing that number 4 spot. That is where we're at. It's sad, but it's true. It's true.
The odds for the Chelsea-Man City game, Chelsea plus 450, drop plus 320, and Man City negative 160. So I feel like Chelsea can, maybe draw.
You placed last time City played when we watched it in the office. You legitimately, I forget what the odds were for Erling Haaland to be an anytime goal scorer, and he ended up bagging a brace.
Yeah, well, no. I was foolish and I got greedy, and I was like, I'm going to bet money on Erling Haaland first goal scorer, and he wasn't, and then he went on to score 2 more after. Yeah. So I screwed myself. So be careful with your bets.
Careful.
Well, I got something else. Speaking of Premier League here, Liverpool, are they going to make it into the top 4? They get a Champions League spot?
No. There are 3 spots to me. They are locks. But Bonnie, first off, I'm sorry about the Arsenal Center, but let me redeem myself. I hate saying it. Arsenal is a lock for top 3. Man City is a lock for top 3. Newcastle, I don't think they're frauds. I think they're going to make top 3. Or at least top 4. I do not know who that 4th team is going to be. Literally right now, Man U, Tottenham. Yeah, Liverpool is climbing. I mean, people are saying Fulham, stop. I think it's really going to be between Man U, Tottenham, and Liverpool fighting it out. Sorry, Sean, and Chelsea's not going to sneak in there. We'll see.
Chelsea's in 10th. I thought they were a little bit higher up.
But I mean, you even look at the point differential. It's not that much. It's if we're looking at it correctly, what is it? 5 through 10 are separated by only 5 points. I mean, that's a couple games here and there. Long season left still.
Yeah, lot of games left here. And Man U, 4-game winning streak. Can't complain about that one.
I don't let
the Ronaldo effect, if you want to call it that.
It is.
But yeah, speaking of Ronaldo, we got to talk about his move over here to Saudi Arabia because it shook the football world, especially when someone with his caliber, his talent is making the move to Saudi Arabia. And we can see the presentation there. If you're watching this live, it looks like what's it called? The Ultimate Team?
It's
FIFA Ultimate Team.
FIFA Ultimate Team. It literally is like when you get that pack and it shows like on the screen, it's like, oh, this is him. This is a crazy intro. Also, I like that kit. That's I
was gonna say
I
it
love
looks like
those colors. That's a nice kit right there.
I feel like it looks a little basic. It looks like I might create a team kit.
I'm a sucker for the colors. That's just a nice color.
Look at these presentations.
Dude, this is like it's kind of crazy though. We've seen presentations like this over the years where like you're rolling out the carpet for these big name players, but it's at big name clubs like at Real Madrid where they packed the Bernabeu for Ronaldo in over a decade ago in like 2009, but that's Real Madrid. The fact that these guys are coming out to see Ronaldo, I mean, that's crazy to me. That's wild.
Well, I mean, when you got that Saudi money, man, you can make it look however you want. But yeah, insane, man. Ronaldo had a press conference today talking about, his move over there. He's claimed that he's done with European football. He did everything that he could have done at that level. So sad to see his move, and I'm putting the Ronaldo fan hat on because this is not what I wanted for him. This all started with the interview that he gave to Piers Morgan and started. I mean, I think even it started during the summer when Ten Hag was hired. But it's just, that's what happens, man. You can't be father time. And you know, I don't think he wanted to realize that. I don't think he wanted like a lesser role. Like the way that I see it now, and not, you know, excuse me if you guys maybe don't get the reference, but I feel like Ronaldo's in a way like Allen Iverson. I don't know if you guys kind of get that, where towards the end of his career, he's like, look, I'm not coming off the bench, man. I'm either starting or I'm retiring. And, you know, at least for Ronaldo's case, he got a $200 million bag that came around, and he's just going to spend, you know, those last years there. And I don't know. I feel like he can maybe play a year in MLS after that, 2.5-year contract, you know, in Saudi Arabia. What do you think?
Well, I find it fascinating. For those keeping online, you know, there were some MLS rumors. Apparently, Sporting KC had his discovery rights, which I'm not an expert about discovery rights, but that's just a fascinating concept that he could have got. Sean and I were talking this. He could go to Kansas City of all places, not like in LA, not in Miami, but Kansas City. I would have paid money to see that. That would have been crazy. But
he was just afraid that he was going to run into Rising in the U.S. Open Cup final.
Exactly.
Oh, that would have been rough.
He was dodging Rising.
Would have gotten outshined by Union Omaha. Exactly. Yeah. No, it's
that's such a crazy story though. Like when you really think about it, like Taylor Twellman was one of the guys that broke the story, but they had this whole like investment group. They had Patrick Mahomes trying to talk to Ronaldo and his team to bring him in, and they got pretty far into the process, man. And obviously, MLS is not going. At least Sporting Kansas City is not going to pay Ronaldo the $200 million, at least straight up in salary that, you know, the Saudi Arabia League is doing. But it's, you know, with the commercial rights and all this stuff with Ronaldo, I think he could have made up the difference with all the stuff over here.
I mean, this might be. I don't have this in front of me. This might be probably the first deal where he's actually going to make more on field as opposed to endorsements off it. Like someone please fact check me on that, but I feel he's always made his bread and butter off the field with all the different endorsements that he does. It's fascinating. I think that when him and Messi were going head to head, I think there was a legitimate debate of, hey, you have guys, they're competing, switching off every other year, it seemed like, for Ballon d'Or, two guys who define their generation. And it's interesting because that's always going to follow them. I don't know. I mean, when Ronaldo won the Euros, I think there was a big, for the Ronaldo guys, like, okay, here we go. I don't know, man. Something about Messi winning it, the way he did it, and then this timing where you see one play, he's riding off in the sunset, Messi fulfilled his dream, and then Ronaldo of, you know, essentially, let's call it what it is. He's taking the money and, I got offers from MLS, from Portugal, from all over. It's probably true. It probably is very true. He is a draw. People would have lined up out the door for him. There's no debating that. But you're taking at this time of the career, it sounds like a lot of the players who, I'm blanking on the league, but like when the league in China was like very much growing, it's like we're going to sign all the top players.
Yeah, Oscar and Hulk and Tevez, and, like all these guys going over there.
Yeah, and Carrasco, like all those Kaká, all those guys of like we're gonna like have eyeballs on us, but how competitive is the competition gonna be? I mean, if people think this isn't anything about money, let me break this down for you. 200 million euros a year, 16 million euros a month, 3,800 million euros per week, 760,000 euros per day, 96,000 euros per hour, 1,600 euros per minute, 26 euros a second. That man breathes and gets 26 euros every single second for, I mean, I don't know how long his contract is, but like, dang.
That's a lot of money. I don't like when people break it down like that.
I don't like it either. But
then I look at my account and I'm like, come on. Come on, man. But yeah, I mean, here it is. You know, it happened. And it's crazy the contrast between, like you're saying, like Messi riding off into the sunset. And he's still going to play a couple more years with PSG. He still has that level. And then you see Ronaldo heading the other direction. Sad to see for Ronaldo stands like myself, but you got to take it in the chin, man. Before we wrap up the Ronaldo talk, is he going to stay the full 2 years there? You think if like someone like a Newcastle comes knocking and say, hey, we got the Champions League spot. You know, I know you kind of want to keep scoring here. Do you think he leaves? Do you think he leaves that money behind and go play Champions League again?
I'd be curious to see what the contract looks like and see if there's like any clauses or any like, I mean, not just like, let's talk about the buyout. Like, I don't know what the buyout is on that, but like, I mean, you got to imagine they're going to protect him and be like, yeah, you're going to have to pay us the bag and then some. Let's say he is able to leave. You look at his last two clubs, Man U forced his way out, and Juve force his way out. If you're looking at his track record, the last time he left on his own free will was Real Madrid to Juve, and that didn't really go super well for him. So, I mean, he did decent, made some records, but if you look at his Real Madrid days, I don't know. He has been a way to force out his exit at every club he's been on for the last, half decade. I think he's going to stay purely because I don't know who else is going to come calling with the demand that they can bring,
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe some MLS team is just, I don't know. It's hard to see, especially once you're approaching 40. I think, you're kind of at that point where it's all right, well, Saudi Arabia, is there some other league, that's calling? Because at least he got his back. So that's all we got to know. I don't even know where you can watch the games. I don't think any North America streaming service actually, streams the games over there in Saudi Arabia.
I don't know, but honestly, he's a guy who probably moved the needle for someone to pick up those rights. Honestly,
hey man, here you go, Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, man, shoot.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Max, take a quick break and talk about our friends at OG's Brands. I saw the news today. Breaking news. Brand new flavor.
Yeah.
Fresas con crema.
Ooh,
that
sounds nice.
Strawberries and cream. New flavors from our friends at OG's Brands. I'm saying fresas con crema because it's really popular in the Mexican crowd. So, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, look, I think, with this flavor, I think I can get my friends to try OG's. And so you want to talk about a little bit more about it?
Man, I've already had their blackberries and cream with their other strains. I've had their orange creamsicle. The creams do well with our friends at OG's. It's strawberries and cream. I like a little strawberry shortcake type of deal. That sounds delicious. And it's in their CBD THC. It's that 1-to-1 CBD of a little calm, everything's all good, nice little full body experience, but then THC, that way you still get the nice uppity of, hey, I got a little mojo going in me. But they're actually renaming it. It's called Happy Balance, which just sounds nice. Hey, have a little strawberries and cream, a little Happy Balance, if you will. I'm definitely gonna be trying it. It's gonna be hitting stores very soon. They sent out in their dispatch, their monthly newsletter, that by the time you get it, which we did today, should be probably by the end of the week, but we will keep you updated when they are fully available. But keep on the lookout out for that, and you must be 21 years or older to enjoy them, and you can find them at your local dispensary.
That is right. Yeah. As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, OGs, I see you. I see what you're doing. But yeah, make sure to try them out. They're great as always. And then I think next week we got a little event going on as well.
Oh, yeah. It is going to be our inaugural PHNX Tea Party presented by Four Peaks Brewing Company. It's going to be so much fun, guys. So next Friday, Sean hates when I say next. It is going to be Friday, January 13th at 5:30 at Dobson Ranch Golf Course.
Next week, Friday.
That's okay. It's the same. That's what I said. Next Friday, next week, Friday. Same thing. Whatever.
When is the next Friday?
This Friday is the 6th.
That's a movie, no?
This coming Friday.
No,
is all right.
So the next Friday from right now is Friday. It's this week.
No.
From the top, Max.
Listen, I have everyone in this office debates me, and I'm standing by, but I'm going to say the date so that people don't get confused, even though I'm right. Friday, January 13th at 5:30 at Dobson Ranch Golf Course. Be there. So much fun. Free food from our partners that are coming through, talking about Mountain Mike's Pizza, Chop Shop. Woo. Free food coming in. Four Peaks going to be there with some beer samples. Going to be free merch there from our partners. Free contest, free prizes. Literally, it's awesome. It's super, super easy, and honestly a great value to sign up. $45 per person, $36 for Diehards. That's just, we're renting out the entire golf range, but not just that. Just for showing up, you're going to get an hour's worth of top tracer and a bucket of balls that you can use down the road. So they're literally going to give you $35 of value just for buying your ticket. You already get your ticket value, boom, just like that. Then we throw in the drinks, the food, everything like that. It's a no-brainer. Join us. It's going to be freaking awesome if you, oh my gosh. I got to stop wagering things and say, hey, here, I'll do this if people do this, because this is how my bank account got drained from that one.
Owen's not here. He can't make you do things. Yeah.
No, I will, if someone from this, okay, here we go. I can do this.
Tap it carefully.
If whoever tweets at me with @MaxDavidSimpson and they say they bought a ticket, they show me proof that you bought a ticket, I'm going to do a shoey. Ooh. I will do a shoey. For those who don't know what a shoey is, I will take off my shoe. I'm a lefty. I will take off my left shoe, fill it with a delicious Four Peaks beer that I choose, and I will drink said shoey into my gullet from my shoe. It's going to be awesome. Man. Please have me do a couple shoeys.
Buy your ticket. So I can see this and I can record it.
Let me have me do a shoey. Let's have a good time.
Shout out to Max for doing this stuff.
It's just a good time, man.
He's a good time.
I've never done a shoey. I hope I don't get like athlete's foot or something.
Oh my goodness.
I don't have that.
I've done 2 shoeys in my life. They're not that bad.
That's fair. Nice.
Shoe.
You'll survive.
I have fresh kicks. I keep it all good.
Oh man, yeah.
I have those little like scented like sneaker balls that you keep in your feet. It's nice and fresh. So
especially when we play some soccer, get back into it. Yeah, you got.
I can't wait.
But yeah, it's gonna be a great time. Make sure to join us there. It's gonna be a fun time. I'm trying to get into golf. I don't know if I told you guys, but I got a buddy that's into golf, so I'm like trying to show up a little bit so that way I'm not like falling behind, because I've only gone golfing once in my life, and I did pretty bad. So
the nice part is like if you like golf, it's there. Suns watch party is going to be on, like hang out. There's also like ping pong. There's cornhole. Literally, if you don't like golf, it's still a fun event. And if you love golf, I mean, come on.
Yeah. Just check it out. Hang out with us. It's going to be a great time. All right, Max.
I should say link in the description, and maybe if we're lucky, producer Sean will put it in the chat.
That's true. That's right. And if you're a PHNX diehard, you get a little bit of a
check
discount.
Check your Discord.
That's right. All right, let's do a pivot here, Max, and talk about some other news that happened over this little holiday break that we had. Unfortunately, Brazilian legend Pele passed away at the age of 82. Pele had been battling some medical issues. I believe it was cancer that he was dealing with. We kind of heard the news and was hoping that he pulled through, but I believe December 29th is when he passed away. It was announced that he passed away. But only player to ever win 3 World Cups with the Brazilian national team. 77 goals in 92 international football matches. Right now, Neymar is tied with him with the amount of goals, and these are official numbers, from what I got. But he scored 757 goals in 831 games. But you can look at the stats and the numbers, but that doesn't quantify the impact that Pele had on the beautiful game, Brazil as a whole, and just the sport of soccer, man. Like it's insane. Growing up, that's what I heard about, this legendary figure, and I don't think the highlights that we can find from him kind of do it justice to how much impact he had for the game. So sad to see.
Yeah, I mean, I think the stats are always going to be incredibly impressive. I think, and that's why a lot of people have them in their GOAT conversation. I think to me, it's the impact that he's had on people. I think with, especially, we'll take it from a U.S. perspective. I think hosting the 1994 World Cup and the 1999 World Cup for men's and women's, like that's massive to the game. I think that really helped grow the focus of what soccer is in the U.S. from a domestic perspective. You really could make the argument that Pele helped bring it to a global perspective into the States, especially when he played for the Cosmos, and just you see that he was revered by everyone, everyone. His style of play, and we didn't watch him play. Sadly, we did not see him in his prime live, at least when we were growing up. But you just see the videos and everything. It's crazy, and just how people love him from around the sporting world. I mean,
we saw today in his funeral that all the amount of people that came out to support him, and you can just see the passion that we have, or that they have for him, and it's insane, man. It's how many people come out and how much he meant to them. Because when you think about these figures, in soccer, you have your legendary icons, but then you have someone like Pele who means so much to a country and the people and what they're passionate about, man. So it's good to see that he got a great send off. I know the FIFA president was there today at his funeral. So sad to see, man. But it's he left us with countless memories. I think the one thing that growing up that I remember vividly was him, Pele with Freddie Adu. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, man.
Because they were they did this whole photo shoot together, and they were comparing him to Pele, and everybody was like, "All right, come on, chill out." But at that point, if you're a kid my age, I must have been 10 years old. It's dude, is this for real?
It's a big deal.
Yeah,
he didn't have to do that, to even draw anything close to those expectations.
Yeah.
I mean, that's absolutely massive for the sport. I mean, I remember that. I remember it was. I think it was it Subway? He was in it was Subway or Gatorade, one of those iconic commercials. You just see Pele come across the screen. It's I first found out, like, who is this guy? And then you look at him, it's like, wait, this guy played decades before, and he's still being featured in these commercials and just so iconic. Yeah. Like, it's crazy that he's one of those guys where even if you don't know global soccer, if you don't know soccer, I bet if you ask the average person, they know who Pele is. And that to me that's wild to me.
Yeah. No, I mean, I know we're a little young, but I wish I would have been alive for like his Cosmos run, because that was incredible. I see all the pictures, and even Muhammad Ali came out to greet him. And like, when you have those sort of that talent and that firepower when it comes to being an icon, like that's insane to live through. But rest in peace, Pele, El Rey. Sad to see that happen, but I'm sure millions of Brazilians are gonna keep him in their memories and keep his style and his samba style alive. All the creativity that he brought to the game. So
absolutely.
All right, cool. And Max, I know I talked about how I thought it was gonna be a slow news day today, but we got a bit of a bombshell with the U.S. men's national team and Gregg Berhalter. This is a touchy subject. I don't want to say something that's not correct or out of line, but when you read the reports of this blackmail that happened during the World Cup to oust Gregg Berhalter from the U.S. men's national team, like, first of all, what was your initial reaction, and then how do you feel about this kind of stuff kind of infecting, I want to say, like, people's livelihoods and jobs, like where someone can dig up something from your past and then kind of use it against you?
Yeah, I mean, still processing a lot of it, because it's such I just haven't seen a situation quite like this. We've seen people's past get, I guess, unearthed or dug up, for lack of a better term, but something where someone is compelled to come out on their own and say it. So essentially how we saw it, right, is you see a Gregg Berhalter @Gregg Berhalter _ tweet come out. And at first you're thinking, wait, what is this? Because it's not verified. There hasn't been any prior posts. There's,
so
there's only a couple hundred followers. Like, what is this? Yeah. And then you see and you're reading, and it's, it was
a long statement, detailed.
And this is like, we won't, it's hard. I get it's hard to see on the screen. You can see the tweet ad for itself if you @Gregg Berhalter _ you search on Twitter. But like, this just shows he put out a statement that's 2 pages long, and this is not just, there's been rumors about this or whatever. This came out of absolutely nowhere.
Yeah.
And so this entire thing of recounting something that happened when he was it a teenager or when he was young?
Yeah, he was 18 years old, over 30 years ago.
Decades ago. And for that to come out, I'm thinking, I don't know how this, is this either someone's coming to try to bury him as he's trying to re-up with U.S. soccer? Maybe there's some other personal vendetta, but just such a weird timing. But I'm still thinking, maybe this is not real, maybe this whatever. And then you see U.S. soccer's statement coming out where they're essentially saying, yes, and then investigation is ongoing. And the big thing here is, again, you can find this for yourself at U.S. Soccer, but the big thing is the second paragraph where it says, U.S. Soccer has learned about potential inappropriate behavior towards multiple members of our staff by individuals outside of the organization. And that to me says multiple members. Again, I'm not trying to speculate, and we only know what we know, but I kind of took this as the thing that they're investigating is legitimate. There's some, if it was his past and people are trying to unearth him, whatever, that's horrible. But, there has to be more information done. I don't want to speak out of turn because more information has to be gathered.
Yeah.
The fact where it says inappropriate behavior towards multiple members of our staff by individuals outside the organization gives me a connotation of something happened either presently or recently. And it's almost like, are we drawing attention to this over here while there's something going on over here? I don't know, but that's kind of how I process it, because why put out a big statement about something like that and then this other statement by U.S. Soccer to come out and being like, I think there might be more to this. I don't know. It's still very raw.
Yeah, I don't want to speculate and say, I believe it's this player's family or, this is what I've heard on Twitter, because look, Twitter can be really great, man, but when Twitter's at its worst, it's bad.
Yeah, it's not good.
Bad. And so when situations like this happen, it's you don't want to say things that are out of line or speculate, because one of the points that I wanted to make about that Gregg Berhalter statement was that this man went through something 30 years ago with his now current wife. It's not his greatest moment. Even he admits it in the press release there. But he worked through it. He worked through it with his girlfriend at the time and now wife. And that's personal, man.
Yeah.
Like, I know all of us have baggage and all of us have stuff that we're not proud of. But this sort of stuff, man, when that kind of, starts to affect, his job and his reputation, not only as like a head coach, but as a human being, like that's when it's over the line, man. Like, that's when I feel like, people on Twitter and social media just need to relax, man. You don't know. Yeah. This is not anyone's business. They work through it on their own. You hate to see stuff like this, man. It's more disappointment more than anything.
I think the biggest thing is, like, I've never seen someone come out, getting in front of like a situation that we didn't even know was there. But like the detail that he put out in his own personal statement was like, I've never seen something like that where he's breaking down something that happened 30 plus really years ago. Like I was like,
I felt uncomfortable reading it. Yeah. I shouldn't be reading this stuff.
I felt like gross because but it was like such a personal statement. You just don't see that, I feel, in today's age. Most people are like, let's put on some smoke screens, let's do whatever. And like, this is not me defending or denouncing Gregg as a human being or what he did. I don't know. There has to be more out there. But just the statement they put out was like, you don't see people that forthright, especially over a tweet. So it was very interesting to me.
Yeah. So, hopefully they can get to the bottom of this. Like I said, it's not something that you want to see and hear. From what I read online is that Gregg Berhalter's contract expired December 31st. The U.S. has a couple of games coming up in January. And so, I think they're going to appoint someone else. From what I've heard, it's tomorrow there's going to be some assistant that's going to be in charge of those 2 games in the camp that goes along with it. So we'll see. We're going to find more information about this in the coming days. But, hopefully more people's lives are not affected, because this is not something that you want to see. Yeah. This is not something that should be happening at all. So, but yeah, we'll keep you updated on what's going on. Andrew, to touch on your comment, man, Pele is indirectly the reason I'm a soccer fan. That's amazing, man.
Ooh, that's why we love the beautiful game. Gosh,
and I feel like you and I are going to be able to say that in 30, 40 years. It's like I watch Ronaldo play and I watch Messi play, and
honestly, that like it's interesting. Like we bash on Ronaldo below, they like his peak Real Madrid days. Like that was the reason why I like really fell in love with the sport. It's crazy that someone like that had a similar impact. Andrew, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing. I'm also seeing, by the way, Bonnie's comment. Are you guys going to be back weekly? ? Totally fair question. We are going to be, for at least the time being, once a week, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. For sure. Ramon and Owen is on a nice vacation. He will be back, I think, mid-January, he said. Again, when he gets back, Tuesday, 6 p.m., once a week, moving forward as we get close to the season. Still trying to nail it down, but we're probably thinking somewhere mid-February or so. We will then go back to our at least twice per week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, while also then covering post games as they happen. So stick with us once a week for now, but we will update you guys like on Twitter, in Discord, everywhere you need to know as anything develops or changes.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, but if you guys want us twice a week, hit that like button, share this with your buddies. The more audience we get, the more shows we can put on, man. Like, I don't know if that's how it works, but I feel like that's how it works. But yeah, thank you for the support, Bonnie. I always appreciate you here at the PHNX show. Before we wrap up, I know we talked about golf quite extensively, but I want to hit on Bad Birdie, man, because I see you rocking the shirts once in a while. I look at Max, I'm like, man, I'm trying to look as fly as he does. Because especially if I'm going to start golfing, man, I got to look good,
Yeah. I mean, they say the golf game is bad, but as Michael Jackson once said, I'm bad, oh, Jesus. But like that's where the good kind of bad, well, that's where he means bad is like good, Okay. But I'm not want to break it down, but I am a little bit. But if you want to get some awesome Bad Birdie merch, look really cool again, even if you don't golf, use code PHNX _sports15 for 15% off at badbirdiegolf.com. They're always dropping new lines of merch, different cool things like
for men and women.
Yeah. And like, it's just comfortable. Like, again, even if you don't like golf, they just have nice stuff. Like, they have like a hoodie. They got sweatpants that they dropped on there.
I'm looking at the graphic right now on that bucket hat, man. Like,
I don't know if
I can rock bucket hats, but I want to buy that one just to see.
It's just super, super comfy, especially as it gets warmer. Like, you're going to want that breathable clothing. That's what they got. So check out badbirdiegolf.com. And by the way, like, the other thing, when you guys use that code PHNX_sports15, that helps us. So we appreciate you guys if you guys want some new swag. I know my man Bobby and I, we've gone back and forth where he buys a little something. He shows me, I buy a little something. You know what? I'll add that too. If you guys tweet at me with a little, hey, I use Bad Birdie, use the code, I'll kind of match you. We can match. We can plan it. We can plan a day. I'll be wearing it on the show, and you could be watching the show, matching me.
That's right. Y'all gotta coordinate, and I'll coordinate too. You know, I'll get myself some Bad Birdie.
There we go. Let's go.
So yeah, some thick boy approved Bad Birdie. So, but yeah, we'll get it. We'll make it work. I gotta work on my golf thing too. All right, y'all. That's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Jam-packed show. We will see you next week. Shout out to our producer Sean for helping us out today. Always a good time with him. And check us out on Twitter if you guys haven't followed us yet. PHNX_rising. Double underscore.
Oh, okay, you got it.
Nice, Owen's gonna wake up and tweet at me right now.
He's watching this and just screaming.
I know. Yeah, from Wales. Yeah. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week. Have a great day. Bye-bye.